welcome to another show of Jack of All Trades. I'm here today with Henry Stockhausen and Billy Sevar. Henry will tell you a little bit about his background as Bill will also. But the idea of today's show is just to give people that are either fairly new and I've been here over 30 years, there's still things that I don't know about the past of Bethel Park. So, gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And Henry, we'll start with you. Just tell us a little bit about how long you've been here.
Well, we moved to Bethel in 1948. I came to started in third grade with Bill. He was in third grade too.
Yeah.
It's now the History Center, but that was our grade school. And me and my brother, we started out working down at the Pioneer Stables. It was down at the entrance of the park.
Okay.
And we worked there for a while, cleaning the horse stables and doing work like that. And then we started. I started with football with Mr. Curry. I was in fifth grade, I believe, when we. There was no organized ball at the time, and Mr. Curry started a team with us. And my brother John played and Bill played, and it was Bethel at that time didn't have any organized sports except a high school.
Oh, okay. So this wasn't affiliated with the high school. This
No.
was just okay.
And Mr. Curry needed money for the equipment and stuff like that, and we would sell scrap iron. Our parents would go around with us. Our fathers would go around with us and make money for equipment, and that was a way of paying for all our equipment and stuff. And like I said, we didn't play organized ball in school till 10th grade because we didn't have coaches at that time.
Right.
Stuff like that. But I worked at Bethel Bakery for close to 50 years, and the Walshes are my relatives.
Which I actually found out last Friday when John came up, and I told him that we were doing the show.
Yeah.
And he said, "Henry's my uncle." I said, I had no idea.
Yeah. So I've been around Bethel a long time, and with sports and working here, it seems like I've been here my whole life, which is wonderful.
Now, you did bring some letters.
Yeah, I brought some things in here from when I played football. I was about 10, 11 years old. A team called the Bethel Kittens. Mr. Curry, he coached two teams really, the young kids and the older boys. And this is what they gave us at the end of the year.
Now, did you have a good team?
We were pretty good.
Yeah.
'Cause I keep thinking of
we was good.
Johnny Cash, a boy named Sue,
Yeah.
and he had to fend for himself. And
call it
if you're a
Bethel
Bethel Kittens,
Yeah.
I don't know why he did that. We were the younger team, so I guess that's what he called us, the Bethel Kittens. And then after Bethel Kittens, we became the Bethel Mites. That was the older team, and we played teams like McKeesport and a lot of steel towns we played.
We played Crafton. Kervosburg, McKeesport. We played the
did you do Clareton?
yeah. We played Clareton.
Okay.
And
A team from Elizabeth, I think, they didn't. And then Turtle Creek.
Turtle Creek.
Turtle Creek.
And
Trafford. We played Penn Trafford.
and
And this was all before
Yeah.
going to
this
high
was all
school.
before
High
and,
school.
and this was the Bethel Mites.
Yeah.
This was our
We were in.
team. Mr. Curry, he took care of all of us. He lived in Hillcrest, and his older son, they started with Bethel Mites, and his younger son finished up. He was 5 years younger than Clark, and
that's where the community center is.
this is
school
right where the
behind
community
you.
center is right now.
So you went from uh, the Schoolhouse Arts Building. That's where you went to grade school. And how many grades was that?
6.
Sixth, and
We
then you went up to,
the junior high was right here behind.
Yeah,
right here.
okay,
And then the senior high
Was up above.
was up above.
okay, all on the same property.
Yes, where the gymnasium was there too.
Yes.
Which isn't there anymore. And this happened to be one of the years that 1951. I got this from my sister. Gave this to me. Bethel was undefeated this year, but they never got into playoffs because back then they had a Gardner's system. There were just points, and only 2 teams made the playoffs. So Bethel was undefeated and never
And they
got
didn't
into
make it.
got into the playoffs.
Wow.
So, but yeah, we still live in Bethel, and it's a wonderful community.
Billy, tell us a little bit about
Oh,
yourself. I mean, I know about you, but
I don't know how to start. I was born in Bethel on South Park Road, corner of Church and South Park Road, a little house there. And I was born from a big family.
Youngest of 13.
I'm
right?
the youngest of 13. so
wow.
we had 50, we lost a couple, but 13 was most living.
Yeah.
And my dad was a coal miner. My dad
In
worked
Bethel Park?
Yes, he worked on Mine 8 down on the Industrial Boulevard.
Okay.
The mine was there. My dad worked there until he had asthma real bad, and he had to retire. So my dad went on himself, and he did a little stuff on the side. He'd go on a streetcar and go to Molnar and library and do knickknacks for people, and even in Coverdale. When I first started working, I worked for an outfit down in Molnar. It was called Colonial Carriers. 19 years old. I worked there, and I was a garbage man. Then in 1968, I applied for a job, and I don't know if you know it. Sam Connell and Ed Larish got me a job at the borough. So I started the borough, and I worked there for 38 years.
Wow.
Then I did different things, and
And you're still working for
yeah,
the borough.
I'm a school guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do other stuff.
But, what I wanted to do, and we did a little bit before, just talk about what Bethel Park used to look like
Okay, all right.
compared to what it was now. And I mentioned South Hills Village when I was small,
Yeah,
and I came out there where there was no South Hills Village.
Right,
It was a golf course.
right.
Well, when I grew up here in Bethel, over on 88, my neighbor was Vic Pearson, who I grew up with his son Bob when I were best of friends, lifelong friends. And Mr. Pearson, he would take us fishing and drop us off, and he would take us hunting in Bethel. We went out. He would drop us off out at Rocky Ridge.
Okay.
And this was like 51 and 52.
When it was just all trees.
It was all woods.
Yeah.
And we would hunt there all day. There was no houses there. And it was pretty neat.
Yeah.
And that's Bethel. Bethel didn't start growing till the 60s, really.
Yeah.
There was mostly farms out this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So was that a farm where the village is? Was that a farm before they made it a golf course?
where the
or?
village.
No, it wasn't no farm. It was.
No, it wasn't a farm.
No, it was no
There was a
farm.
driving range
Yeah.
where the mall is now.
Okay.
And across the street was a miniature golf,
Right.
and of course that's all changed right
Oh,
now.
sure.
Yeah.
But Bethel was back in the 40s and early 50s. It was a lot of farms,
Yeah.
a lot of open area.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of, when you look at older pictures, I don't see a lot of paved roads either.
Yeah.
No, and when I was in high school, I was a lifeguard down at Corrigan Drive pool.
Okay.
And like I said, me and my brother, we were busy either in sports or just hunting, and it was just a good place to live.
Yeah.
Now, your whole family was at Bethel Bakery? Your brothers
My
worked
sister Anna and Mo, my brother-in-law, they started Bethel Bakery,
there? Okay.
and then I was in construction after high school, but then that fell through, and my sister said, "Why don't you just come and start at the bakery for a while?" So I, for a while, was 50 years.
50 years later.
Yeah.
What was the best thing you ever made? What was your specialty?
Oh, well, I did all the mixing. So,
Okay.
Cakes.
So they didn't let you decorate the cakes, though.
Well, for a short time, I did decorate, but we got so busy, I went back to
Yeah.
doing the mixing.
No, you talk about the things that are there,
Yeah.
moved. Bethel Bakery wasn't always where it is now, correct?
No, that was Tischler, Sam Tischler, and they had a pharmacy there,
They had a little, you could go in there and drink, had a little
fountain.
fountain,
there.
get sundaes and ice cream, sit there. You could sit there if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So where was Bethel Bakery at then before it moved down there?
Mo was on South Park Road,
Sugar and Spice Shop.
the
and
old
stuff.
Sugar and Spice,
Okay.
and he was with Ann Kalchik. He started with Ann Kalchik. She owned the Sugar and
Yeah.
Spice, and Mo came in, and they were partners for a year or so. And then he started Bethel Bakery there for about 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then he moved into where it is now, in I think 58, somewhere around there.
So it's an icon of
Yeah.
Bethel Park. Well, everybody knows about Bethel Bakery. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's still, John is running it with his son, Stephen, now.
Right.
And they still doing a good job.
Yeah, they opened that second location out in Peters Township.
Yes. And they're doing well out there.
I can remember when I'd go to school. I remember when his sisters and them started the bakery. Before we'd go to school, we'd come down and get a donut there. I remember when they
Yeah.
started,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Ann Kalchik and all them.
And, yeah. Yeah.
Now, another thing that someone mentioned to me, and that Eaton Park,
Yeah.
where it is now, people remember that they just replaced it, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, they built a new one in the same area.
Yeah.
Right.
But before that, it used to be on the other side of the
Yes.
road.
Right
in
by
South
the
Park
drive-in.
Shops.
That's the third Eaton Park that's there. The first one was right next to the drive-in,
Yeah.
and then they moved across the street, and then that went, and then now they have the third one there.
Okay. So three in the little vicinity there.
Yeah.
And the drive-in was right next there. My sister Mary worked at the drive-in. She worked at the ticket booth
Yeah.
for several years.
Now, there was also a car wash down there, wasn't there, on the same side where Eaton Park was?
Wait.
Years ago, yeah. But there was an Isley's right across from the
Right
drive-in.
where CVS
Yeah,
is
it's,
now.
yeah,
Yes,
it's the
where
Isley's
CVS
there.
is.
Yeah.
It was an Isley's.
Yep. The car wash. What am I think about the car? Oh, the car wash used to be down where they're putting cones. Where cone is,
Yeah.
that used to be a car wash in there.
Okay.
They had pumps and they had a car wash there.
So,
Used to be a bar there first. Before they even built that, was a bar there.
yeah. I mean, a lot of things have changed. And we were talking before about where Lowe's is,
Yeah.
which is fairly newer, but there used to be a Hills back in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hills was there.
Right.
And,
Shopping center, big shopping
yeah.
center there. Yep.
and then
Yeah.
and someone comes in with better and bigger
Oh,
ideas,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
they change
Yeah.
everything.
There's a lot of stuff there.
And I also was in Bethel Park's first Little League baseball team, which was down at Rutherford Acres.
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
1952.
Yep.
And I played there for 2 years, and the field is still there, I think.
Yeah, it is.
In 1954, it was the first Pony League, which is right here, little Pony League
Yeah.
emblem. And they played at Rutherford Acres also.
Okay.
And that field is owned by the Rutherford Church.
The church.
They own that.
Yeah, I know when I used to coach girls softball, would have to get permission. That was one of the fields that
Yeah.
we used.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then right across the street, you have Rutherford Market,
Yeah.
which is probably one of the oldest shopping centers in the country.
Yeah, they've been, I don't know, early 50s, maybe late
Yeah.
40s it was built.
Yeah.
And I told you how they got the name, don't you? How they got
No.
Buford Acres. As you go on Drake Road, on the corner there was a gas station. There was a big house there with a big tree, and there was a guy named Ruth and Fred Brown lived in it. So that's how they named Ruth and Fred Brown. That's how they got the name.
Oh, okay.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
That's how they got Buford Acres. And I can remember when we used to walk out there when they started the shopping center. We used to
Okay.
walk down and watch them, us
Yeah.
guys.
And actually, probably the market's probably the only thing that was there from the
Yeah.
original shopping center.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And I know that Ace Hardware was in there, but they're gone now.
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
And then things change.
Sure, it sure has.
yep.
And yeah, Bethel's come a long way.
Yeah.
Since the coal mining. I can remember going to industrial, where Industrial Park is now. When I first moved here, we'd go up and watch the coal miners coming out of the mine.
Yeah.
That was where the main shaft was.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And those coal miners coming out of there after working all day.
Right where Lento Boulevard is.
Yeah.
That's the main shaft. They used to come out.
I think the building's still there.
Yeah, building's right on the corner.
Yeah.
Yep. And the coal mine sat right down before you go into Progress, on the right-hand side there.
Yeah.
It was a big mine.
Yeah, we did a show over there about
Yeah.
where it was initially,
Yeah.
and even going to the Coverdale, where the doctor's house was.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
mining doctor, Dr. Kent.
Yeah, Dr. Kent was the coal miner right
Yeah.
on Maple Street. As soon as you turn in, he had
that's
his
that
office there.
It's that White House.
Yeah.
Is it?
Corner of Maple and
Yeah.
Main.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you needed drugs, you didn't go to drugs. You went to him, and he'd give you a bottle.
Yeah.
Of something.
Yeah.
Something to get you back
You-
into the mine.
And
the
you know
next
where
day.
he lived at?
He lived down here on South Park Road.
You know where they had that? Where they put that that new shopping center on the right. That big red house used to sit
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
That's where Dr. Kent lived.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They tore it down and they put that little shopping center.
Yeah, that's where he lived at.
So
He
now,
was-
how about? Hillcrest has been around for a
Oh,
long
yeah.
time. So I don't know if there's any original tenants in there or not. I remember when Peaches Records used to be at the end of Hillcrest. The
Yeah.
record store. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah. But how about over where John Eagle and Walmart's? What did that used to be?
Well, originally when going in there was a Tally Ho Stables.
Yeah, right.
Was where Wendy's is now. Was the Tally Ho Stables. People
Yeah.
kept their horses there.
Oh, okay.
And they would ride them down the park. You could take your horse and go along 88,
you can ride them
you
down
could
88.
ride. You could walk. You could take your horse along 88 all the way down to the entrance of the park. At that time, was very little traffic,
Yeah,
and there was a fruit stand right next to Tally Ho.
Stanley Market.
Stanley Market. It was run by Schoolenbrain.
Yeah,
Frank,
Mr. Schoolbrain.
Frank Schoolenbrain. I went to school with. His parents ran the fruit market.
Yeah, and you used to have to. Then down at the entrance of the park, Mr. Bellback used to have bicycles. You could get a bike there right on the corner, rent it, and go all the way through the park and come back. He had bicycles on it. Where
there
they're
was-
putting cones at.
Where Cones is now.
Yeah, there used to be
Okay.
a bicycle place.
And where the pizza place is now.
Yeah.
There was another gas station there.
Yeah.
Ronnie Wolf.
Yeah, Ronnie Wolf had a
Ronnie Wolf's
gas.
parents owned the
Okay.
Esso station,
Right
and they
there on
rented
the-
out bikes too for the park.
Yeah,
a lot
Ron-
of people would come down and rent
Sure.
bikes.
Yeah.
For, with,
In where
DD.
Car Place is,
Yeah.
that next to Pasta Two,
Yeah, and
Johnny
TV.
Jitnick used to have a place there.
Wasn't that a restaurant?
Yeah, John Jitnick,
What was it?
it was called Johnny's.
Johnny's,
It was called Johnny's at first, and then
Yeah,
it
that-
became Park
Park Valley. No,
No,
Park.
Parkside or
Parkside.
Parkside.
It was a. You
John-
could go in there eat. Then he made a bar out of it.
Well, before that, when
Yeah.
I grew up, like I told you, I worked those stables there
Yeah,
at
right.
Pioneer. They got a lot of people from the stables who came over, like they were like cowboys,
Yeah.
and they ate lunch there. My sister Anna worked there, as a waitress
Yeah.
at Johnny's.
So up at where John Eagle is, so Tally Ho Stables at the beginning, and then I guess it's at some point.
They went out, and then they actually put a driving range in there from where Cool Springs
Yeah.
miniature golf was across the street.
Where Brightwood Apartments, that used
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
used to be the original.
Right
Cool
on the
Springs.
corner. Yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
Mr. Duckworth was his name. He built that
Yeah.
Cool Springs,
Right.
Yeah.
and he also I don't know if he owned that property across the street, but they put a driving range in there for a while,
Yeah.
and then eventually it became a shopping center.
Then after that, remember they brought Po Folks in.
Yeah, exactly.
It was there for about 10 years. Then they got rid of it. Then they built.
Rite Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Po Folks. Well, I also remember that Po Folks was there,
Yeah.
and there was nothing else there
Right.
until they dug the hill out
Yep.
and put in, Starbucks and Advanced Auto or what have you.
And down by the bar, we forgot to say where Johnny Jitney had the bar. Henry Verschaeren was right next door.
Yeah, Verscharen's
It was
there
Verscharen's
for
there.
years.
Yeah.
And a lot of people from Coverdale worked there, guys. Mickey Dunn worked there, and a couple. He used to work there all
Yeah.
the time. A lot of.
Yeah,
So obviously where Tally Ho was, that's where they built the Winkies.
Yeah, right. There was
Right,
Winkies there, right.
Winkies was there.
See, you
and-
remember that? There
Well, I
was
remember
Winkies there.
Winkies.
Yeah.
But so then you had Arcadia Gardens,
Right.
where Pep Boys is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what was the rest of it? I mean, was it always a John Eagle? I mean, it's pretty big.
No, Giant Eagle came later.
Yeah. They.
I can't remember
Oh.
some of the businesses that were in there.
I don't know.
That's
what-
where I believe that's where Ames was, right?
Ames.
Yeah, Ames was there. Yeah.
And getting back to sports, Bill was spent most of his life in Coverdale, and Coverdale had their own football team.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were like they didn't want to play for anybody else, and I remember Mr. Pearson telling me this because him and I were very close. He was my neighbor, and he said back in the '40s when Mr. Pearson was the head coach, that they would practice Coverdale, and they would play games. They would come down and play the varsity,
Yeah.
and
Oh wow!
yeah, and they had their own soccer team, Coverdale, and they played on Miners Field,
Yeah.
I think.
My brother played for. My oldest brother Tommy played for Vic Pearson, and my brother played halfback. My brother's 125. He was really a good football player. He got hurt. He dislocated his hip, so he was crippled the rest of his life. So, but he played for Vic, and then he used to help out. He used to help out with the basketball team. Vic was even the basketball coach.
Yeah.
My brother
Pearson-
played for them.
Mr. Pearson told me at one time he was football, basketball, and golf coach.
Yeah, right.
Golf coach. And there was a coach before him, Mr. Syanga.
Yeah.
He went to the service in World War II and was killed in service. And that made Mr. Pearson more like the head coach for a while. That at that time, Bethel, like I said,
They had good teams.
he had very good teams.
Yeah,
But he was like the head coach of everything
yeah.
because Bethel just didn't have it. They were too small then to have what they have today.
Yeah, they just put Mr. Pearson in the Hall of Fame.
I saw that.
Yeah,
it was
I was
very-
at the game that day, and I couldn't hear, but I don't know who stood in for him. But you said
Because
somebody.
Bob's gone. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
somebody
only had
stood
one
in for
son,
him, but
yeah.
I didn't. I couldn't hear him because there was so much noise. I was at that game when, and I read in the
Almanac.
not on the Chronicle.
Oh, Chronicles.
Yeah, Lou
Yeah.
Big
He's
Brother.
very,
Yeah, I just
he
saw
was
that.
very deserving of that award.
Yeah.
He was.
He was a nice guy. If you got in the classroom and you didn't want to learn, you start talking about dogs. Right?
Yeah, yeah. He raised dogs.
Yeah,
Him and his,
he was a good guy.
Mrs. Pearson, they raised
yeah,
boxers, and
Yep.
I would go with
Yeah,
him
you
to dog
was with him more
shows.
than I was.
I would go with him to dog shows, and me and
Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah, he was closer to.
There was someone that was telling me a while ago that of the dog patch where you have Collie and
Yeah.
Dalmatian, that the person that owned all that property was into dogs, raised dogs, a veterinarian or whatever.
Oh,
and they
that was
went-
yeah, Doc
it's-
McNary. He had a
Okay,
he
that's-
he had a lumber company down at Castle Shannon, and he moved it up to Bethel. But he bought all that property, and he owned all that. And they owned all, like you said, Doc McNary owned all of
Yeah.
the property up in the
Well, that was a
Named
big,
after
big
dogs.
project.
Yeah.
When they put those
Oh, yeah.
houses in.
So going back to like where Walmart is now or whatever, you have the Shop and Save that's on the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Was that always a Shop and Save, or is that something else?
No, as far as I know, it was always.
Okay.
You know,
I mean, it changes hands and ownerships.
There
but
was another company there.
yeah. But you know what that was? There was a cemetery up there,
where the Shop and Save is,
up in the corner. They had graves. Yep.
I mean, things have changed
Yeah.
just so much.
And-
Any big things that I didn't mention that you might say?
Grandview Farms used to be up on the top of the hill of Baptist Road,
Right.
Baptist and Broughton.
Yep.
That was a big horse farm.
And
for-
what was
for
his
years.
name owned that? He had that car dealership.
Yeah, the guy that owned the car dealership, he owned.
Yeah, he owned all
He
that.
kept his horses there, and then
Oh, he had some big time horses up there.
yeah,
Big time.
Grandview Stables, and then
Yeah.
then when he sold it, that they put
No, that's where all the big
all
homes
the big
are.
homes are up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember years ago when, if you're going down King School Road over at Saddlebrook, that was just a horse farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
And-
said, when we moved out here, down on Stoltz Road was Circle W. It was at the corner of King School Road and Stoltz Road.
Yeah.
And we used to go out there and watch. They had rodeos out there, and this was in the late '40s, early
Okay.
'50s.
Well, there's still a small, they have
Yeah,
horses down
There-
there
yeah.
now.
There's a few stables there
Yeah.
Okay.
that people have. But like I said, when we moved to Bethel, there was a lot of farms, a lot of horse farms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
but Bethel was mostly all farm. Lutz's farm, Lutz's farm.
Mhm.
Lutz out up the Highland Road, that was all farm. Lutz owned that. There was, I'd say, 6, 7 farms in Bethel.
Yeah.
I can't remember all the names now. I mean, it's been a while.
And
Nice.
our grade school, which is now the history building, I remember seeing on above the classroom door where it was from 1st to 12th grade at one time.
Okay.
So that I don't know what year that building was built, but all of Bethel, you know, that was actually their high school too when
Yeah.
it was originally built.
Well, I guess at that time the population was small,
Mm-hmm.
and they could, house all the students in there. But
Yeah,
now we have 5 grade schools, soon to be 1 giant grade school.
right.
The old high school. I remember I went to Baldwin High School,
Mm-hmm.
and we used to envy Bethel Park because they had a campus. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
which I don't know if it's the smartest thing to do,
I don't know.
in Pittsburgh winters at the time. But I remember my girls that have swimming first thing, and their hair would be wet, and have to run all the
Run
way up to
outside.
building 1.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah. That wasn't
Carry
good.
your coats all day or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
they
we've
were
made-
supposed to build close them in, but they said they run out of money. It was too much. That's what they
That'd
were
be a lot-
talking
There'd
about.
be a lot to close them in. But
Yeah.
so Bethel sure has changed since
Oh,
in
boy.
your
It's
lifetime.
come a long way.
Yep.
Come a long way, and in a good way too.
Yep.
Well, there's still, with attending council meetings, what have you, there's still a lot of things on the horizon
Yeah.
that they're looking at. So,
Mm-hmm.
but anyhow, I do appreciate you coming in. I learned some things today that I didn't know about Bethel, and certainly about no organized sports until you got to high school. So,
All right.
Henry,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack.
Billy,
Jack,
thank you
thanks.
very much.
Hey, you